Okay. One of the things that we were quite concerned about was how were we going to assess whether we'd actually moved on and whether the children actually had internalised these procedures. So one of the tasks that we did is we chose a big book. At the time, a senior unit was working on natural disasters. It was Fire on Blue Hill. All they were given was the cover, was sitting up on the whiteboard, and then they had 3 things that they had to record. And so when you look at these ones, they're very minimal. Okay, so what were other ways of saying Fire on Blue Hill? This person's got, lightning on a blue mountain, the story of the Blue Hill fire. And there's only 1 or 2 titles that they've been able to offer. What questions will the text answer? Again, the children had to list what they thought. So this was going in cold before we started teaching all of this. And then, what keywords do you expect to see out of this text? Every class ended up with that little pocket of data, and now we've been able to compare it to the term 3 and now the term 4. And lo and behold, the sheets no longer look like 1 or 2 lines. There's, lines and lines and lines. I can do it this way, I can do it that way. So we can see straight away, without any, huge NAPLAN report, we've made progress there. Okay. The other thing that we did, and this is, what I wanted to do is to sort of make it so that you could see what it looks like in our room. All the classrooms were issued with prompts, so these were just a series of posters that we made for all the high reliability. So these are great big A3 posters across the entire classroom. Cue cards. All the teachers were given cue cards that we made up with every single possible type of activity that they could do to cover each of the high reliabilities. So prior to their sitting on the floor with their students, they can pull out the ones they want. What don't I know about the topic? How do I feel about these ideas? Who, what, why, where? Have them on the floor and use them for themselves, but also the students to use them as well. So we really wanted to make sure that the teachers had what they needed to build on and have the materials there to help them through. We made prompt posters, a bit like what was on the website. I think everyone just cut and copied and made different things. But again, placemats sitting on the floor next to our staff and our students. A lot of our staff were then asked to take the high reliabilities beyond what they were doing in their guided reading groups and take them to their actual literacy rotations and work that the other students were doing. And so in these examples, these are using a text. You might know the collection series. And in there she's got, paraphrasing. So there's a chart there, lots and lots of sentences with paraphrased ones. So this was simply scaffolding them to find the paraphrased sentences. And so we made a whole lot of resources which now go into the book box. If you do that, it's ready there for you. You can scaffold that group. It's quite easy. And I'm sure everyone's done lots and lots of these different ones. So there's a whole variety of them there. Okay. Keywords, using lots of proformas where the children can use whiteboard markers to identify the keywords. So that before they're sitting with their teacher on the floor, identify your keywords, what are the synonyms. So the kids are seeing these and they automatically know how to go and take them on board. Categories, I think that's one of the best games to play if you're looking at synonyms. As you know, I won't go into it, but it's a good one. And this is one of our 3-4 teachers. She's got a box. She changes the words depending on the text they're using, and that's a rotation straight away. Okay, this is our prep prompt poster. Our prep unit decided to create a huge poster where they would prompt visually each of the kids, and they started off with a modelling where they actually did each one of those. So the first one there with the magnifying glass, look at the front cover. She started doing each individual one as a modelling. We now have those kids with posters on the floor and they do it themselves. And this is a great big A3 poster, but I've put it over a few slides to make it. So the visualise, the brainstorm, and then predict with a crystal ball. That's an example there of a text, the sea dog, and the preps have done this on their own. So this was without a teacher, sitting down with their prompt poster, and they've got the brainstorm, okay, the prediction, the dog is white, Ben's going to find a sea dog, the kid is Ben, and the dog is a girl. Then they've gone on to answer some questions and predict what the text is going to be about. And Olivia there's got, Ben lives in a lighthouse, but he's afraid of the sea. He makes friends with a little white dog who isn't afraid of anything. So this is our prep group working independently on their own. We have integrated the high reliabilities into our integrated studies. Our units of work overtake the entire curriculum, and we naturally integrate as many things as we can. So this was one again on natural disasters. So visualising, and we call these wonderings, and they're like a 2-minute introduction before as everyone's settling down. How does this scene make you feel? What does this mean for you? So getting the kids in the picture, ready to start talking about what's going on. So different ways of, getting your knowledge ready. And these are one thing which was really good that we got was we had administrative assistant to actually make the resources we would need for the following term. So we have a resource that we think is quite lucky. In our planning day, we get to sort of say, okay, what visualisation tools are we going to make? What do we need? And they all get made ready for the following term. And so you have these in your room ready to start using. These are just some other examples. What had this person been doing 15 minutes earlier? Okay, that's one of the Pompeii casts. What is this lady thinking? That's one from Cyclone Tracy. So basically getting all that knowledge, talking, feelings, all that getting knowledge ready that we want. And there was one of these to match each of the disasters we looked at. The other thing that we've developed is we use task cards as part of our integrated studies for individual learning and for also differentiating the curriculum. So we've asked our staff with their task cards to actually base some of them on the high reliability. So the students would work through a series of these targeted specifically to what they needed to do because they are graded. And that was an easy one of just getting knowledge ready. Okay, predict what questions you think this book's going to answer. That's another one. Visualise yourself living across from this street. What happened 5 minutes before this picture was taken? What's going to happen 5 minutes later? Okay, paraphrasing. With a lot of the paraphrasing, we sat down with a number of our staff and we wrote some tasks where, in this particular case, they had to paraphrase the way the words said. So it's quite boring when you read it that way, but then they had to go through and use the paraphrasing tool to change that. So we've made lots of resources like that we could use. This is a program called Wordle for keywords. If anyone doesn't know it, it's a great one to look up. It's free on just Google it. But what we wanted to do is to brainstorm those words and that the kids might be using ready for another program or ready for their next text. And in this particular case, you just type in all the words that you come up with and then it creates them in the most amazing artistic way. So the kids absolutely loved it, but really we were getting, we were sort of tricking them into doing, just give me as many synonyms as you can in some cases or keywords. But it's just called Wordle. Getting knowledge ready. What we've put into place for a lot of our text is as the students have got their text, prior to beginning with any text, they automatically go to one of these Blackline Masters, which is what it is up there. Straight away, paraphrase the title, think of the key words, predict what you think is going to happen. So that's an automatic one that they do every time they get a new text. Brainstorm and visualise. If you could jump into the picture, what do you think you'd see? What do you think you'd hear? What would it feel like? What would it smell like? And these have just become templates that are just part of the literacy boxes. What questions might this answer? What was happening before? What's happening right now? What's going to happen next?